Wir haben heute hier auf der Bühne natürlich auch sehr viele Organisationen, die im politischen Bereich arbeiten, die schon länger existieren, die auch größer sind, die auch Sprachrohr, die Lobby sind, die zu der sogenannten oder auch Homo-Lobby gehören. Andere würden sagen, sind einfach Menschenrechtsaktivisten und nicht Homo-Lobby. Dieser Ausdruck ist echt furchtbar.
Genau. Und er hat einen wunderbaren Namen, ich finde es. Und er kämpft quasi für uns alle.
Ja, es ist unglaublich, genau. Aber wollen wir ihn direkt vorstellen oder erstmal sagen, was er denn so macht?
Ja, wir können natürlich.
Genau. Wir begrüßen hier auf der Bühne nun eine Organisation, die sich vor allen Dingen mit wissenschaftlichen Methoden unserer Problematik der Homophobie und der Transphobie und der Menschenrechtslage in vielen Ländern widmet.
Genau, und die Organisation heißt Human Rights Watch.
Genau.
Und sie leisten sehr, sehr viel diplomatische Arbeit und wie hat er noch gerade gesagt, Advocacy? Advocacy war der Begriff, der gefallen ist. Er wird seine Rede auf Englisch halten. Und ich werde nicht übersetzen.
Ja. Er kommt aus den USA, war jetzt lange in Thailand, begrüßt den Mann mit einem wunderbaren Namen. Ach übrigens, und wir dürfen es sagen, er ist ganz frisch in Berlin angekommen. Seit 2 Wochen ist er Berliner.
Und er ist ganz allein in dieser großen Stadt.
Er ist ganz allein. Er hat noch niemanden, der ihm die deutsche Sprache beibringt. Er ist Single, er ist gut aussehend. Begrüße auf der Bühne Kyle Knight. We had to say this. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. I don't speak German. I just arrived here 2 weeks ago, but I think I understood some of the ridiculous things they said. It's a very generous introduction. For us at Human Rights Watch, as a global human rights organization that works on a whole range of issues, it's an honor to participate in an International Day of Solidarity on LGBT rights such as this. And thank you so much for welcoming me to join the Berlin office here in my first 2 weeks in the city.
Welcome.
The way we like to think about our work and what we do for LGBT rights issues or all kinds of other issues is 3 basic things. We investigate, we expose, and we change. Now, investigate is the first step, and that's somewhat self-explanatory. That's gathering information, that's checking facts. And for us, the most important part of that is that the people who experience the human rights abuses have an opportunity for their voices and their stories to be heard. And then we expose. That means telling the world the truth. That means telling the media. That means relying on all of you to spread it on social media, to make sure governments that abuse people can no longer hide behind their lies. And then comes change. Change is a little more complicated, isn't it? Change doesn't happen particularly quickly in any context. And to be clear, change never happens without the courageous and tireless activism of local activists all over the world. And so one of the important messages on a day like Idaho here in Berlin is for us to remember that as we stand here in solidarity with LGBTI people all over the world, and we ask the world and we demand that the world respect and include diversity, that we also have a very diverse movement. And that LGBTI rights activism takes different forms in different places, and that's a great thing. So I'll tell you a quick story. Last month, I was in Kazakhstan as our first step of the process, the investigate step, because Kazakhstan is considering passing the so-called gay propaganda law, much like Russia did a few years ago. And on my last day there, I got in touch with this young gay man who lived in a grim coal mining town up on the Russian border. And he said the only place that was safe for us to meet for an interview was the restaurant where he worked. And so I went and I sat down and I ordered lunch. And he would come over for 5 minutes at a time and refill my cup of tea and answer my questions and then disappear and take care of other customers so they didn't get suspicious. And over the course of 2 hours, he told me horrific stories about the people he would meet when he used to own a secret gay club in that city. And every night people would come in and tell their stories of abuse and discrimination and all of the things they faced in their homes, in their workplace, and in public. He told me the story of a young man who came in one night crying because he had come out to his father earlier that day and been chased out of the house as his father tried to stab him with a screwdriver. He told me how through the nightclub they would raise money to help transgender people who were beaten by mobs to pay their medical bills. Or how they would strategize to help LGBTI people get out of the country if the abuse was pursuing them that hardly. And about 2 hours later, he came up and said, okay, you've got to go soon because otherwise people are going to start asking questions about why this American is hanging out in the restaurant. He said, you can ask one more question. And I said, okay. I said, I'm an outsider here. I don't pretend to know your situation, and I also don't pretend I can tell you what to do. But I have a question. In a lot of places around the world, what you've just described to me, the things you've done, the way you support LGBTI people, the way you create a community and raise money and provide different types of services, that's what activists do. That's what people who call themselves activists do day in and day out. So I said, why don't you do that? Why don't you start an organization? Why don't you claim rights in public and speak to the media and do these types of things? And he laughed at me and he said, look around. The government's about to pass this law. Look at all these things I've just told you about. If I did that, I would sit on my deathbed and look back at my life and realize I've accomplished nothing. So I'd rather just do these small things. So at least I realize that I've improved people's lives in a small way and kept this community alive. And so I remember him often and the stories he told me constantly, and especially on days like this, where we stand and we express our outrage, as we should. And we stand here in solidarity with LGBTI rights activists and LGBTI people all over the world. And we remember when we hold these flags, and by the way, Kazakhstan is not one of them. And we remember when we hold these flags and we think of these people, that the type of courage that we're supporting is not just the type of courage that can hold a rainbow flag in public. Sometimes it's quieter, sometimes it's more subtle. But as we demand the world embrace our diversity, it's important that we remember the type of diversity that's and action that's taking place around the world. And it doesn't mean we give up on the universal claims to human rights and basic dignity. And so thank you again for having Human Rights Watch here today. Please keep coming out year after year for this event, and remember the types of people that we're supporting in the different situations around the world.
Thank you, Kyle Knight from Human Rights Watch. Dankeschön, thank you for being our guest here, for speaking, and thank you for your work.
Ja.